Hi. You might be sitting at home after a fresh diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, worried about how that came about, how it came to be. Or if you have a friend, family, or loved one that was just recently diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, you might be wondering, how did they do that? How did they diagnose? Today, I'm going to talk about that, so stay tuned. Hello, good evening. Hi, how you doing? How are ya? Welcome again back to the channel. If you don't know me, my name is Erin. I'm a registered nurse, and I also have multiple sclerosis. I am here. My plight is to help those of you understand multiple sclerosis, water down all this jargon and the fancy schmancy that all these doctors say. I like to keep it simple, and I just want to help you understand it and come to terms and come to peace with your diagnosis. So today I am talking about how multiple sclerosis is diagnosed. This was an interesting topic for me as I did a little research, because even from when I was diagnosed till now, there's been quite a few changes. But let's just say there's three main ways. One is going to lead you into the other two. So it's kind of like not really a direct way. Many of you at home, or those of you watching this or have just recently been diagnosed, this might come as a relief for you. Maybe you've had symptoms and it's all been a whole, what have we been doing, researching this, all the labs, all the tests, what are we doing? And finally the doctor comes to this conclusion. And so this could be a place of relief for you. But ultimately, the first things that lead someone to a doctor's office in the first place, and specifically a neurologist's doctor's office, is symptoms. So for me, particularly, I was experiencing numbness. I had numbness in various body parts. For other people, it can look with the vision loss, vision change. As I understand, a lot of people have either double vision, they might just lose a complete spot in one area, one field of their sight. And there's other, I believe, things like weakness, headache, but the more obvious ones are primarily the numbness, tingling, kind of a tight, hot cramping is the best way I can kind of describe what I was going through, and the vision. Those are the two kind of the main ones, but there are outlying, of course, symptoms that one can experience. So you go to the doctor's office. What the doctor is going to do, one of two things, or maybe both, but one for sure is an MRI. This, and I will put, of course, the title, what that stands for those of you that don't know. And ultimately, this is a major, deep, very detailed type scan. It's going to scan all, mainly they're going to look probably at your head, your brain, and possibly maybe down to about, just kind of maybe to your shoulder blades at the lowest. That is what they're looking for, are lesions. And I will post a picture. I will tell you right now, me personally, as a nurse, I have the hardest time even reading my own MRI. I am not a radiologist, so your guess is as good as mine. But there are some obvious examples you can find if you research, and ultimately it's white spots and that light up in the areas. And basically that indicates some scarring, if you will. Sometimes it's open, it might be just kind of an open area to begin with where the myelin never recovered, but it could also be a scar of where maybe the myelin started to kind of repair itself too. Or just an old lesion. So that is the first and foremost way. The second way, and it's a little bit of an older, I don't know that physicians are doing it quite as much. They used to do it more so, I think, probably 5 to 10 years ago, and that's a lumbar puncture. And that is exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of, to me, a little serious. So what they do is they go in to your spine in the lower area, and they take out cerebral spinal fluid. So yes, this is a major, not to scare anybody at home, this is a major procedure in which the doctor has to be very precise in where he places that needle to collect that fluid. So obviously any little nick or anything, yeah, it could create some major issues for you, and you could be paralyzed. That is a risk that the doctor might tell you about. Have you ever had one? Should you ever have one? And what he's looking for is called oligoclonal bands. I believe I pronounced that right. There's a certain amount, and that it's an indicator that you have multiple sclerosis. Again, there are ways that, without having to do that MRI predominantly to diagnose. The third kind of way, it's going to be lean towards that, the likelihood of having the chronic illness would be labs. They're going to run some specific labs, and they would also maybe give him or her, the physician, a better idea of what might be going on for you. So those are the main things. Now, there is actually, what I learned, this was new to me too, there's an actual flow chart of a physician that they will follow to help determine. And this particular flow chart, it's called the McDonald's Criteria. Not like McDonald's. I'm loving it. So it's a flow chart. Ultimately, it talks, and I'm sorry, I'm looking over here reading. I'll tell you right now, I have no shame. I ain't above that. So it's gonna, of course, like I mentioned, you're gonna go in experiencing some symptoms. They're gonna have some imaging. They'll draw some labs, and this is the first step. If you end up with something that doesn't match up with MS, then of course they're gonna continue to explore, and with the likelihood that maybe you have something just under the whole grand autoimmune umbrella. If you do have it, then from what I understood, there's kind of two different branch offs, which I thought was interesting. So there's one that under an MRI, if you have lesions present in 2 or more sites within your brain, or if you have progression of symptoms 12 months or greater from onset, or if you have 2 or more spinal cord lesions. That is one determination of them saying, yes, you have multiple sclerosis. On the other hand, if you have lesions present in one site, and it also includes you have progression of illness. So if you're deteriorating, you're having more symptoms for 12 months or more, then that also flows into it, which leads to, and this is where it gets a little confusing. I'm not going to go into the specifics because it'll totally knock you out, and it almost bores me as well, to be completely honest. I mean, hey, let's face it. It can get little. Anywho, so for the one where you have to have the 2 or more lesions, they're going to look at 1 or more of these criteria, whether it be cerebral spinal fluid, and then where you have images and what they might see. And so there's 2 other criteria. So there's dissemination in time and dissemination in space. That sounds, I know, like space, like a jet car going by. Get it, totally get it. Let me break this down. Dissemination in time is the time if you've had frequency. So let's say you have an old lesion and maybe you have a more recent lesion that they can, however they directly determine that. I personally don't know myself, but they just know. They'll be like, oh, this one's kind of an older lesion. We've got another one. That's a criteria for dissemination in time. Then there's dissemination in space. And what that means is that there's lesions in different areas of your brain. Now they have specifics, and I will post the flowchart, but the new criteria as the updated version of the McDonald's criteria for 2024, I know I'm totally boring you, I'm so sorry, but is now they're looking more at your cervical, your neck area. That was actually, which I thought was interesting, that's kind of a newer thing. I don't know, that's something I'll have, we can all together research and see whatever we come up with. Comments, bring in the comments, let me know what you find. But for me personally, they did happen to look because I had larger lesions in my neck, for which I have mentioned in other videos that they thought possibly I could have an illness called neuromyelitis optica, otherwise stands for NMO. So to wrap it up, make it easy for you, it's very easy, either an MRI that shows lesions in your brain, a lumbar puncture, which shows an elevation of bands in your cerebrospinal fluid, or maybe they'll just do both. Could also be labs, and obviously you're gonna feel the symptoms to get you to the office in the first place. Hopefully this was helpful. I know it was a little rambling, but hopefully it was helpful. Please, again, as I always say, watch, like, subscribe, share my videos. Again, my plight is to help people make this simple, help people to understand it, break through the jargon, and help you feel more comfortable and give you power. Yeah, I know it's corny, but whatever. Seriously, giving you power to understand your disease and not feel so freaked out about it. So, all right. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video.